Hey guys, welcome to Culture Therapy. My name is Esra Chadad, your multicultural psychologist, and today I'll share with you guys how I deal with family conflict. Now let's get right to it. It's almost Christmas! Yes, and you are going to gather with family members that you haven't seen in a while, and that is especially true if you are an expat and you only get to even see your parents every once in a while. And that means also that there are going to be a lot of people with very different opinions that are going to gather around you. And there will be judgments passed, there will be criticisms made. For example, you maybe hear a comment about how much you've changed physically or even behaviorally. Someone might go ahead and ask when you're gonna bring a partner to the gathering next time. Or if you are already with someone, then they're going to start asking when are the kids going to be coming. So it's a trying time for anyone who doesn't want to get judged by family members or doesn't want to worry them about their own situation. And so it's important to have certain reminders so that the conflict doesn't escalate or break out into fights. Now, I admit that I've never been in a family gathering where a huge fight broke out, but like any family, not all my family members are on the same page about different topics, so disagreements will happen. However, how is it that I deal with them? And then how is me being a therapist a help in being able to deal with those family conflicts? Now, the first thing to remember is that your family, more likely than not, means well. So that comment about your body isn't to criticize you, it is to show you that someone noticed how you look and they are concerned or otherwise happy with the condition. Of course, unsolicited advice and criticism is never fun to hear. But before I discount a comment or I go into a little bit of an angry haze, I just try to remind myself that all this person is trying to do is show me that they care or show me basically some attention. Now, if I know for a fact that this person is saying a comment or criticism to hurt me, then in this case what I do is I smile and I say, thank you for the comment, but you don't have to concern yourself about that or worry about it. And then I remove myself from the situation. Don't forget that before a fight escalates or before a heated argument escalates into a fight, you always have the option of being able to leave the situation. The second thing that I remind myself of is that people's perception of me does not define my self-worth. What people see in me and my situation is their own unique perspective. As a psychologist, I understand that perception works in an interesting way. When a person actually sees a situation or another person, their own perspective of that person is filtered through a lens of beliefs about who people are and who people should be, and about the situations and how they should be as well. So if someone has made a criticism of me, that means that they are basically comparing me, what they're seeing, with their belief about how I should be, and they are passing judgment based on that or making a comment based on that. Their own perception is completely separated from who I really am, and I have to remind myself of that. And it doesn't mean that I'm wrong or they're wrong, it just means that what they think is right may not necessarily be right for me. And this point, coupled with the previous point about them meaning well, it's really hard to get upset with them when they make a comment. And finally, and this is especially true as an expat, I remind myself that what my family sees before them is only a snippet of who I have been all year long. For example, when someone makes a generalized comment about how living abroad is a lot nicer than living here, or that I must be really lucky to be able to live in the Netherlands and that my life must be really nice and it must have been a blast, it could be hurtful, especially that I know how much I've struggled with loneliness and with depression to get to where I am today. So I have to remind myself that they aren't trying to discount my struggles, they just don't see the whole pictures. They have no idea about all the things that I had to go through to make my life in the Netherlands livable and to be where I am today. They are probably just making that assumption because the general assumption among Egyptians is that living in Europe is a lot nicer than living in Egypt, and they are just basically using that assumption and passing it down onto my own situation. I'm an Egyptian living in Europe, that must mean that it's really nice. So knowing that, knowing how unaware they are of everything that's happened, and just separating my own personal struggles from their perspective about how things should be, that basically makes it difficult for me to get upset with them because they're not judging me or they're not discussing me. They're just saying something that is more generally what people believe about my situation. And my own personal experience can be different. It won't matter in the end. Now notice that in all 3 reminders to myself when facing judgment and criticism, I always respond to my family members with empathy and with understanding. And of course, there are comments that will make me angry, and there are comments that are very embarrassing, especially if the family member is trying to really push the points. However, I need to remember that this is a time for fun and for gathering and for basically everyone sharing happiness and sharing gratefulness, and I always let that feeling take precedence over anything that anyone is going to tell me. And when you approach family members with the agree to disagree mentality, then you can always keep your cool. And when you empathize and understand their perspective, then it's very difficult to get angry and get upset with them. And as long as you remember that you are not meant to live up to your family's expectations, but that you are meant to live your truth and be healthy and good to yourself and others around you, then you can actually spread that feeling of wellness to the rest of your family through your confidence and your love. And with that, we have arrived to the end of the video. I hope it has helped you gain a little bit of perspective about how you can deal with conflict without letting it arise or get way into a big fight. And it's perfectly possible to enjoy the holidays with some sense of like just separating yourself from what people are criticizing you about and all of these things. These things mean nothing. Other people's perceptions of you are not your reality and they are not who you are. So don't ever let your self-worth be shaken by other people's comments about you. If you did like this video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more content on culture and psychology. And I'll see you guys in the new year. Bye!